Hello, future self. Mr. Yen here with Advanced World Studies, Chapter 23 Reflection. It's Chapter 23 Political and Industrial Revolutions. It is a huge chapter. There are 5 lessons to begin with, and then I split Lesson 2 into 2 lessons. So if we take a look, it's the American Revolution, the French Revolution, and the French Revolution and Napoleon are in 1 lesson, but I broke it into 2 lessons because there's just a lot there. And then nationalism and nation states, followed by the Industrial Revolution, and then society and industry, which is sort of your catch-all culture lesson. Tons of information. We're in this chapter for a hot minute. I don't have any notes really on this one because there were no outstanding mistakes or problems with quizzes or anything like that. I went through, I redid the intro video, redid the vocab. Each objective and standard page was revamped, different pictures added. I started trying to add more supplemental material to the end of the lessons because it's something that some of the parents mentioned in the parent-teacher conferences, like, oh, little Billy really likes your class, but he wishes that there was a little more. Okay, I can do that. I can add a little more. So I started adding supplemental videos to the end of the lesson, or links. It was convenient timing because we finished this chapter up, and then it was pretty much spring break, so it was a good break point. The chapter ended on a Thursday, so I just bumped the current event back to the Friday, kept it easy because it was the last day before break. All they had was that current event. And then we came back from the break, and boom, we're starting Chapter 24. If we take a look at the test, let's see how the kids did, because this was an auto-graded one. "95, there you go. Sounds about right. This one was all multiple choice and matching, maybe a true or false or not thrown in there. I would say that there's an interesting thing about this chapter. It's that the first virtual lesson, it was 2 weeks. It took 2 whole weeks to cover this chapter. I made the first virtual lesson for the first week virtual lesson from scratch. It was an interesting one. We covered the French Revolution, which tends to be pretty complex and not talked about a whole lot other than just 1 lesson. 2 days. So I made the virtual lesson from scratch specifically about the French Revolution and a little bit into Napoleon. The second week was a little experiment on my part because we covered so much in this chapter that we cover in more detail next year, like the American Revolution, Industrial Revolution, those kind of things. There's a lot of lessons in here that will be relearned in more detail in 8th grade. So I had this giant pool of virtual lessons from 8th grade that applied to this chapter, so I let the kids decide what they wanted to learn about from a list of topics of things that I already knew a lot about from teaching it in 8th grade. In 2 of the classes, because we had a day somewhere, both times I let the kids know beforehand, here's possible topics you can choose, and then whoever showed up to class, we had a little vote, and we learned about whatever they wanted to learn about. Both days we learned about the French and Indian War, and then we go a little bit onto the Revolution. No one learned, I guess the Industrial Revolution wasn't as exciting for them, but I gave them a list, and then both days we ended up talking about a lot of U.S. history specific. So that was fun. We learned a lot about the French and Indian War, which we'll cover in detail next year, but now they have a heads up on it. So that was the interesting thing of the chapter, is I let them choose each day what they wanted to learn about from a pool of virtual lessons that I already had from 8th grade that applied to this chapter. So that was fun. I think the kids liked it. That's it. I like that. It's something I can do when I have a pool of pre-made virtual lessons. I let them choose. The kids generally like that. That's it. Basic upgrades to the whole chapter. Cleaning it up, making it look nice. And from here on out, I'm going to try to add more supplemental material to Advanced World Studies lessons. Have a good one.